Imagine arriving in a new country with no money, no family, and no safety net, and then helping invent the financial system that still powers it more than 2 centuries later. Imagine rising from obscurity to the very center of power, only to be undone not by your enemies, but by your own words. This is the story of Alexander Hamilton, an immigrant, a revolutionary, a financial architect, and one of the most brilliant and complicated figures in American history. Alexander Hamilton was born on January 11th, around 1755 or 1757, in the Caribbean island of Nevis. Even his birth is uncertain, a fitting beginning for a man whose life would defy convention. He was born out of wedlock, a serious social stigma at the time, and his childhood was marked by instability and loss. His father abandoned the family, and his mother died of fever when Alexander was still a teenager. By the age of 13, Hamilton was working as a clerk for a trading company, managing accounts and correspondence that far exceeded what most adults handled. It was there that his talent revealed itself. He showed a natural ability with numbers, language, and organization, and, crucially, ambition. In 1772, after writing a vivid letter describing a devastating hurricane, local leaders were so impressed that they raised money to send him to North America for an education. Hamilton arrived in the colonies with almost nothing, but with an unshakable belief that greatness was possible. He enrolled at King's College in New York, now Columbia University, and quickly immersed himself in the political turmoil of the time. The American colonies were on the brink of revolution, and Hamilton didn't hesitate. He wrote fiery pamphlets defending independence, displaying a sharp intellect and an aggressive rhetorical style that caught attention. When the Revolutionary War began, Hamilton joined the Continental Army. His intelligence and energy soon brought him to the attention of George Washington, who made the young man his aide-de-camp. At just 22 years old, Hamilton became Washington's closest assistant, handling correspondence, strategy, and logistics. He was brilliant, efficient, and impatient, eager for recognition and frustrated by slow-moving superiors. Eventually, Hamilton left Washington's staff to command troops in combat. In 1781, he led a decisive assault at the Battle of Yorktown, helping secure the victory that effectively ended the war. It was a defining moment not just for the Revolution, but for Hamilton's sense of destiny. After the war, the new United States faced an enormous problem. It existed in theory, but barely functioned in reality. The national government was weak, heavily indebted, and unable to collect taxes. Many Americans feared centralized power, but Hamilton feared chaos even more. He believed the survival of the Republic depended on a strong federal government, a stable financial system, and the rule of law. He studied economics obsessively and concluded that public credit, the ability of a government to borrow and repay, was the foundation of national power. In 1787, Hamilton attended the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. While others debated compromise, Hamilton argued boldly for a strong executive and long-term stability. His views were often too extreme for his peers, but his influence was undeniable. When the Constitution was sent to the states for ratification, opposition was fierce. In response, Hamilton, alongside James Madison and Jay, wrote a series of essays defending the new framework of government. These essays became known as the Federalist Papers. Hamilton wrote the majority of them, dense, forceful arguments explaining why a strong central government was not a threat to liberty, but its protector. Today, they remain some of the most important political writings in American history. When George Washington became the first president in 1789, Hamilton was appointed as the nation's first Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton was just 32 years old, and he immediately went to work reshaping the country. His financial plan was radical. He proposed that the federal government assume the state's war debts, establish a national bank, create a stable currency, and encourage manufacturing. These ideas sparked intense opposition, especially from Thomas Jefferson, who feared centralized financial power and favored an agrarian republic. The conflict between Hamilton and Jefferson became the first great ideological divide in American politics, effectively giving birth to the nation's first political parties. Hamilton's vision ultimately prevailed. The Bank of the United States was created, public credit was restored, foreign investors gained confidence in the American economy, the nation stabilized. But Hamilton paid a price. His relentless drive, sharp tongue, and refusal to compromise earned him bitter enemies. He wrote constantly, letters, essays, pamphlets, often revealing too much, too bluntly, too publicly. That habit would eventually destroy him. In 1797, when rumors emerged that Hamilton had misused public funds, Hamilton attempted to clear his name. Instead of a simple denial, Hamilton published a long, detailed confession admitting to an extramarital affair with Maria Reynolds, explaining that the payments in question were hush money, not corruption. The document, later known as the Reynolds pamphlet, stunned the public. Hamilton had chosen personal honesty over political survival. His reputation never fully recovered. Despite this, he remained influential behind the scenes, advising Washington and later shaping Federalist policy. But Hamilton found himself increasingly isolated. His most dangerous enemy would be Aaron Burr, a charismatic politician whose ambition rivaled Hamilton's. Hamilton distrusted Burr deeply and worked repeatedly to block his rise, including opposing Burr's bid for the presidency and later the governorship of New York. In 1804, Burr, enraged and politically ruined, challenged Hamilton to a duel. On the morning of July 11, 1804, the two men met in Weehawken, New Jersey. Hamilton reportedly intended to fire his shot into the air, a gesture of honor without bloodshed. Burr did not. His bullet struck Hamilton in the abdomen. Alexander Hamilton died the next day at the age of 49. The nation mourned. Even his enemies recognized what had been lost. Hamilton left behind no fortune. His family was burdened with debt, but his ideas endured. The financial systems he designed formed the backbone of American economic power. His belief in institutions, credit, and federal authority shaped the country's trajectory long after his death. For much of American history, Hamilton remained a controversial figure, admired by economists, criticized by populists, and overshadowed by men like Jefferson and Washington. But in recent decades, his legacy has undergone a dramatic revival. Today, Hamilton is remembered not just as a founding father, but as a symbol of ambition, intellect, and the immigrant drive to build something lasting. He believed the United States could become a global power, not through isolation or nostalgia, but through innovation, structure, and confidence. Alexander Hamilton once wrote that he wished to live long enough to see the nation flourish. He didn't, but the systems he built did. And in many ways, the modern United States still runs on Hamilton's vision, a reminder that sometimes the most enduring revolutions are not fought on battlefields, but written into balance sheets, laws, and ideas that refuse to die.